Welcome to yet another episode of the Drift Car Build-Off presented by Spec Clutch and Koyorad.
Today we're going to fix up lots of little odds and ends that are just wrong on this car.
It is time we take a pause on the performance modifications. Despite everything coming together really well, I'm super excited about this car. I think the interior is now almost 100% complete. The roll bar's in, the seat's in, our drift handle is in, all that jazz. However, there are some things with this car, our cheap M3 was cheap for a reason, that are bugging me and really need to be fixed for this to be a functional street/drift car. And we're gonna start off with the rear here. As you can see, there's a panel that goes right here and it's missing. I've taken it off because you need, for this to be a proper street car, you need lights that illuminate the license plate. And they weren't working on this car. So I went ahead and took the piece that has the lights apart. And of course, the lights were just terrible.
Oh, wow.
Done and done. This whole area was corroded. The actual light bulb holder was destroyed. So at first I was like, you know what, I'm gonna leave it. But then I thought, the last thing I wanna do is get pulled over in this car because my lights are out on my license plate. So I went online and bought some LED ones thinking this would be a quick and easy fix. However, these were listed as M3 E46 replacements, and they do not fit in any way here. Like, what? Come on, eBay. Like, damn it, you know? So I've got a solution. I think I'm just gonna chop this up to make this work and then glue it in, something of that sort. So you guys are gonna follow along as we do this and a bunch of small little things to make this car just a little bit less shitty. Making my LED lights a little bit slimmer just required lopping off the plastic portion here. I actually cut the connector tabs off, welded some wires onto them. This is just a simple setup, positive, negative. And now the next step is to take these wires, hook them up into the existing BMW wiring harness here, and then gluing this in, which I think I'm gonna use this rubber-based sealer that I have kicking around. I think that should work well. Now that I've caulked my LED lights in place, I've also shrink wrapped the wiring. Let's see if this all works. And I really hope it does. We got both?
You got lights?
Yes, we've got both of them. Great. All right. So that is job done. I think it's time we move on.
Actually, PT, before we move on, what's up with the STI in your shoulder here?
This.
Is this the new M3 STI model sweatshirt?
Well, this could be foreshadowing, or I have this cool hoodie from Laguna Seca on the STI press launch, I think like circa 2015. So we were ripping STIs around there back in my former magazine days. And I don't know, I guess this was kicking around. It was a dirty laundry day, so I pulled this thing out of retirement and threw it on. One of the other items that has been driving me mad and actually almost caused me to go crazy was the glove box. And why? Why would a glove box almost drive me to madness? Well, it's because I couldn't open it. And there are fuses, there's a whole section of fuses that you need to get to through the glove box. And partially, that was why our rear taillights weren't working on the car. They do work now. That's because the fuse was out. I couldn't get to it. Anyways, to get to the glove box, I had to disassemble that whole area. It was something that I was cursing so much I couldn't put on video. And that was because in the convertibles, they had an actuating mechanism that would lock the glove box naturally. So if you left the top down and you didn't want people fiddling through your personal belongings, you'd have this locked. Except, guess what? These break And of course they break in the locked position, which is why I could not get this open. So I ended up having to take this whole thing apart. And now that this is apart, I'm trying to figure out how to put it back together. I cannot figure out why or even how this whole mechanism works. It's just baffling to me. I'm starting to think that this may not be the right handle for the convertible. Like, I don't know, I've never seen BMW markings like that before where it says Caporale on it or something. And there's no BMW logo in here. I did check the parts stash, and oddly enough, I had another one. See, this one's marked BMW, and it's a completely different system. And this system makes sense because there's a hook here, and then that goes into there. And when you pull on the handle, it actually does something and moves this, and the whole system works properly. Moment of truth here. Yes. Goodness, and it's such a simple fix for all you convertible guys. Just replace this with a regular latch from like another E46 and you're good to go. No, I am not about to clean the floor here. Unfortunately, we are missing hood struts on our M3, so I've got to use the broom to hold it up. Thankfully, Rock Auto has exactly what I needed. Let's see if I can just pop these on. Pretty simply there. Okay, I'm gonna pull the hood up here. Oh, a broom is coming. That's all right. Lock it in place. Oh yeah. Wow.
Man, this is the easiest job in the world.
One's holding it up.
One is holding it up.
Should I keep it at one?
That's the lightness of carbon fiber.
I know.
Even though it's only 1 pound lighter than stock.
Yeah. Well, the cheap M3 deserves proper struts. Come on, right?
Well, it doesn't have any in the suspension, so why not under the hood?
Yeah, well, we'll get that done. There you go. All right, now, let's see if this will close. Oh my goodness, that feels good. Yes. Bam!
Look at that.
I call that one of the easiest jobs we have done on this car. Next up on the to-do list is to get rid of the mismatched side markers here. I've gone ahead and ordered these beauties. DP, look at these. Ooh. These are the Depot smoked side markers.
Oh, they're smoked all right.
Oh, and they look way better. I think they would normally match the headlight here, but this one is so pitted and destroyed that I think I'm gonna have to put in some work. So I already got the Maguire's headlight restoration kit out here, and I just have to polish them because you're gonna see if I just line that up here, it's kind of a debacle on how badly that looks.
Yeah.
So I've got to do some justice to this headlight to make this clear corner work. Would you look at that, DP? What do you think?
Does look good.
I think the difference is worthwhile. If you look at this one and you look at the other one that I've yet to do, the difference is rather staggering.
It is.
Right?
That is milky, and this is nice and clear.
Yeah, well, so I've got one more down, and then we are moving on. It is time to say goodbye to my Momo Monte Carlo wheel. As we discussed in a previous episode, this is a fantastic wheel. For drifting, not so much because of the way the fingers kind of get caught in this area here, the thickness of the actual wheel itself. But we have a solution, and it is a Momo MOD 7, which is a race-oriented wheel. And look, no like curvature indents to where you put your hands or your thumbs. This wheel is actually much thinner. So I think it's like 30 mil versus, I'd say that's probably 50-ish, 50 mil in terms of thickness. And it is a deeper dish, which our buddy Riley mentioned is good because when you're flicking this and letting it go, it's not gonna get caught up with the turn indicator or the wipe indicator. So that is definitely a bonus. And I think it's gonna look very good too. So let me bolt this in and show you the final product. I think I actually like this wheel better than the Monte Carlo. It feels good. Be able to flick it, catch it. So the last thing left to do is actually a bit of a process, but I wanted to get it done today before we go tearing up all the mechanical and the motor and whatnot, and that is install the gauges somewhere in here. And after a lot of back and forth, DP and I were wondering, like, where do you put gauges in this car? I saw online people put them in this, is this an ashtray? Yes, in an right here, but I feel like it's too low. So then I thought, man, maybe I would just put them here, but there really aren't any good pods. There's the A-pillar pod. I'm not going down that road. I definitely don't like it. There's a company out there that I found on Etsy that actually makes vent pod holders here. So you could put a gauge in every vent. Again, not great in my opinion. So I figured the best way to solve all that is put it right in this area. So what we've got lined up here is we're gonna get a single DIN radio, which I'll show you in a second, and I'm hoping I can fit 3 gauges down here. Wow, would you look at that? That is a hefty beast of a radio, and it is being replaced with a single DIN unit. So here's the plastic trim that I bought, and here is the radio that I got off of wish.com for a whopping $22. I'm looking to spend my money where it counts, and a radio definitely is not that, so I cheaped out, got the cheapest one out there. Hopefully it works. We will see how that is when we hook it up. But the reason for me going to a single DIN, as I mentioned before, is to mount up some gauges. And for our gauges, we have turned to AM's X series. These are some of the fastest responding gauges on the market. What I really like about them is they are slim and have a sleek profile, so they can mount up in pretty much any tight area. And we have gone with our usual oil pressure, oil temperature, and water temp, which I think are all key indicators that you need in a vehicle such as this BMW. So the last thing that I should show you, where did it go, is my piece of carbon fiber. DP, what is this? This is like
it's a high density foam backing.
High density foam backing. Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's from Kevin at
C3
Composites.
Yeah. So thank you, Kevin, for that. I'm just gonna trim this out, make it look as good as possible, and we will mount some gauges up and see how this all looks. Well, DP, what do you think?
Looks good,
I
man.
am really impressed with how this turned out. Gauges look nice. They do power up. As you can see, we've just got sensors because we've got to take care of the wiring at a later episode. Wow.
Listening to that romance music there, huh?
Yes, yeah. Wow, all right.
Wish deck is making it rain.
That Wish deck, as you can see, works. I actually Bluetooth into it and made a phone call, so it does work. I mean, it looks like it's from the 90s.
It does look pretty cheesy, doesn't it?
It is what it is. I'm pretty happy with everything. I think that is a wrap on this video. If you like this video, cleaning up the M3 just a little bit more, please give me a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe and check out speedacademy.shop, where we actually have all these parts for sale. So if you look in the description of the title here, you can find links to the gauges and the steering wheel.